Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Nick. This is MSFS Flight Plans, a channel that is completely dedicated to saving the world through flight simulation. I've got a little montage for us today because not only do we try to save the planet through what we do here in the sim, but when I see something that's really, really cool, I want to show it to you guys because as we're saving the world, I want you guys to enjoy that experience as much as possible. So this is all from, what I'm going to be showing you is from Bijan's Seasons Enhanced 2024 pack. I'm just looking at this thing because it's so incredible. I've never flown it before this flight. I mean, I've flown it once for this flight, but this is a neat little thing. I'll tell you about that a little bit more in just a minute. I did not realize that Bijan had touched up, like heavily touched up, some specific areas in the world that were just kind of interesting from a vegetation standpoint. So there's quite a few of them in that pack, and we're going to check out what I think are the three best, starting here in China to check out a bamboo forest. And then we'll go over to New Orleans to check out a swamp a little bit northwest of town. And then we'll end up along the coast in California, just south of Los Angeles, because those guys could really use a little love right now. And it just looks incredible. So here we are in China, and this is, since we're just kind of fooling around, I figured we'd take some planes that are just made for fooling around. This is the M24 Gyrocopter by Orion. And it's pretty cool. We took that Bulldog out on our Rocking Out tour back in 2020. And this one's pretty neat. I might even like this one a little bit more than the Bulldog. It's a little bit newer looking. Okay, let's start her up, and let me show you the map real quick, just so you'll know where we are. Way out in the middle of nowhere in China. And I do have the Map Enhancement China HD Pro map installed for this. Didn't fly it without it, but that did a great job in all the other spots we've been to in China, so I put it back in again. So here we are, right out in the middle of nowhere. And not a lot of airports around here, which is why I just parked on the street between these buildings, but we don't need a lot of runway. So all we're going to do is take off. We'll check out the town of Jiang An right there, which is what's a little bit north of it. And then we're going to come over this area right here, which is everything that's been modded up. And you will definitely be able to tell it's been modded up once we get over there. But it looks really, really cool. So that's it for this one. After this, which will be pretty quick, we'll head over to New Orleans. All right, let's fire this thing up, which should be really easy. These on, start power, push the button. And we're good. All right, let's do this. And we got Will back. Yeah, he loves gyrocopters. Who doesn't love gyrocopters? Away we go. This thing sounds pretty cool, too. And it's a little bit rough because we get rough terrain, and it feels rough in 2024. Listen to the sound of that top rotor going. If you didn't see that flight in the Bulldog, I did not realize until that flight that that top rotor is not powered. It starts spinning when you start going. And I don't think you could possibly get a smoother landing than you can achieve in these things. All right, let's power back. We're already way, way up there. There we go. So this is the wintertime setting. This is the live weather and everything. And you can see the trees down there have no foliage on them. Thank you, Bijan, for that. And off to the left there is the bamboo forest. But I want to take you down along this river here for just a little bit as we check out the town of Jiang An. So this is the Yangtze River. The longest in Asia and the third longest in the world at just under 4,000 miles in length. And this thing starts just north of Tibet at the base of a glacier and then flows all the way down to the eastern coast, dumping out just a little bit north of Shanghai. I think Shanghai's border actually goes right up to the southern bank of it. And here we are out in the middle of nowhere. The colors of this river, you'll see a little bit better once we get out of these shadows. That's actually accurate. Look how blue that is. If you look at it on the satellite maps, that's what it looks like. Really incredible. And look at this. Bridges out here in China with some weird looking shading going on. I'm going to blame on the DLSS underneath that. But it's not filled in, which is great. I'm feeling like it's just a little bit dark out here. So we'll come up here around that little island over there just to get some sunlight so you can see how blue this is, and then we'll head up into the forest. But in Mandarin, Yangtze means long river. So I guess they knew what they were talking about way back then when they decided on the name of it. I think for a while it was called the Blue River. And I could probably figure out why that is too. And of course, because we're in China, all of these are default buildings, but with that map enhancement, for some reason, I don't know why, they're still default buildings, but it makes them look a lot better. Okay, here we go. We're getting into some sun here. So the really cool thing about this bamboo forest, as you'll see once we get in it, you got to get real close to see down underneath it and see all these stalks of bamboo coming up. Which is what we're going to do. Let me zoom on a little map because I'm going to follow this little nav map. I'm going to follow this little river offshoot here, and that's what we'll take up into the forest. Yeah, down along the banks, you got the fuzzy cars and all that, but just look over the town there. All the different colored buildings and everything. Very cool. So you can see where the vegetation changes to that lighter green color. And in some of the other areas, like in the swamps, you can change the seasons and it gets more bushy, the trees do. But I think that bamboo may be an evergreen plant, so it may be that color all the time. And this is a pretty big area he did up here too, which is nice. Alright, I think we're at about the top speed for this thing at around 80 knots, so we won't push that any harder. I'm going to pull the throttle back just a little bit. And we'll cruise on over here and check this out. So this is the Jiang An Bamboo Forest, also called the Sea of Bamboos. I think this whole region is called the Sea of Bamboos, which is the world's largest bamboo forest, which I'm sure makes some giant pandas very happy. It's just amazing to me that we can be out here in the middle of China and see bridges that aren't filled in underneath. If only we could get that in a lot of these photogrammetry cities. I was up by Quebec City, which looks pretty good. It's photogrammetry. It's just a tiny little part of Quebec. They got the photogrammetry, and I was going to head down to Montreal, but everything between there and Montreal doesn't look great, with the exception of one customized bridge, which looks really, really good, as you take the river down towards Montreal. So maybe we'll do a lunch break or something over Quebec, because they got a really big, neat-looking fort out there, too. And you know what? I bet if I brought this month to summertime, we wouldn't see that line as much there, because you're just seeing the trees without any leaves on them before the bamboo starts. So let's come over this way a little bit, and I'm going to fly pretty close to the ground. I don't think there's anywhere to land out here, so I'll just kind of fly close to these trees and see if we can spot any of the tree stalks coming up. And if I'm not mistaken, a bamboo is a form of a grass, not a tree, to be more specific. And I think it's also the fastest growing plant in the world, which I can attest to because someone at some point that lived in this house before I did threw an old bamboo plant out there in the woods behind my house, and I've done everything I possibly can to kill it because it's overgrowing everything else, and I can't. And good luck even trying to cut through it once it gets too big. It's like cutting through a piece of steel. Okay, we can kind of see some of the stalks down here. We'll just kind of take these valleys for a little bit until we can see some of the stalks, and then we'll move on. By the way, my frame rate's out here with everything set to ultra. Someone asked about this in my last video, so I'll try to remember what the settings are in different areas. All the traffic turned off, animals turned off, people, cars, planes, all that stuff. I always keep that turned off. There's some stalks there. See them underneath? How sweet is that? And you can tell, I mean, the leaves really look like a bamboo plant. Terrain level of detail is set at 250, and I have a 3090 card, because someone's probably wondering that. i9 processor. Object level of detail maxed out. Everything else on ultra. I turn the rocks and the plants off, but the trees and the buildings are on ultra. What a neat area, huh? Yeah, it's probably one of those places you fly over once just to look at it, but it comes with the Seasons Pack, which you should definitely get for 2024. I don't even remember what I paid for it, but it wasn't a lot. And they way overdid a lot of the trees out here. We'll come up over here just to get in the sunlight so we can see a little bit better. And then we'll move on to New Orleans. And the texturing down there underneath them looks great. Just a really neat area and a nice touch. I mean, the effort it must have taken to do this is just a little bit of a pot sweetener for the pack. It's neat, really neat. Well, that doesn't look very great down there, does it? But it's cool. And there's the city down there. There are a lot of really, really cool spots in China, but the country is just so gigantic. You need to find a good airport, find some things to talk about. We took that one flight when I was showcasing the map enhancement back in 2020, which was really cool. But I would really like to try to find some areas in China that we could check out. So if you've flown around out here and have found some good spots that look good and have things to talk about, be sure to let me know. Okay, so that's it. Is that another bridge? Okay, we got to check the bridge out. Like another bridge just running through the forest over here. And of course it looks flawless. I don't know if that's what it looks like in real life because it's a default bridge, but it's not filled in underneath. Alright, we'll come over here and then we're going to fade to black, go out to New Orleans. I like it. I like it a lot. Look at that. Really neat. Good job, Bijan. Very good job. Okay. When you see me again, we'll be in New Orleans. All right, here we are in the swamps of Louisiana, and you can tell this looks amazing. I did find a spot for us to land, and you have just got to see this from the ground. Before we do that, let me show you a little nav map real quick, because I want to show you where some of the other swamps are if you want to check them out, and where we are right now. That was weird. And Lake Marpas over here, which we'll see when we come back up. We'll fly around for just a minute. There's another swamp over here. I thought this was the best looking, the one we're at right now, of all the swamps, of the 3 swamps that are in here. And I'm not even sure I was in the right spot for this one or the one in Florida. I just didn't feel like there were any good spots to land out here. Maybe that's why I'm a little bit biased, but this one looks a lot like this on the ground if you can find a good spot to land. And the other one is down here in the Everglades. So if you come way down here, and again, none of these are near any airports, so you'll just kind of have to start in the air. This one was okay, but again, I'm not sure I was in the exact right spot because it's hard to translate that over to a little nav map. But if it's starting you right above where it is, then apparently that's the right spot. But I thought this one here in Louisiana was the best. So to find these, if you want to go in the world map, like you're about to start a free flight, and over on the top left corner, there's a place where you select your plane. Right underneath that, there's a search field. So just type Bijan, B-I-J-A-N in there, assuming you have the seasons pack, and it'll pull up all the locations where he's got stuff, and you can just select which one you want to go to, and it'll take you right there, which is pretty cool. So let's look around on the ground down here. This looks, I live in Jacksonville, Florida, which is at the exact same latitude as this. I'm close to the coast. And if I were to walk in the woods behind my house, it looks identical to this. We don't have any mangrove trees like that because it's not quite that swampy, but there's areas near me that look like that. And yeah, when you get right on it, you can see that it's not quite right. But, I mean, from any kind of distance, it looks great. These cypress trees, look at these vines hanging down. And that Spanish moss hanging up there from those trees. This is just spot on. It's unbelievable. Right down to the pine straw and stuff on the ground with those pine cones. I mean, this is exactly like me walking in the woods behind my house. This is unbelievable. Very cool. And I don't know if you noticed those pebbles down by the stream. I don't think that was a Bijan thing. I think that's just what the sim does now with the ground once you get close to it. Look at this stuff. Look down in the water. Look at all those pebbles and everything. A little splashing sound when you walk around in the water. I'll be quiet so you can hear it. It's just amazing. Really crazy. So, you know, this would be great if you felt like you want to do a little hardcore role-playing. Maybe you've had a long day at work, want to come home, take all your clothes off, climb in the cockpit in your underwear, maybe do a little noodling out here in Louisiana, which you can do now legally. I'm not sure if anyone was doing it legally before that, but as of 2022, you can noodle out here in Louisiana. And if you don't know what that is, come to the south sometime, or just Google it. Okay, let's hop in. We'll just come up real quick, take a look around, and I got to click on here to get in there, just to show you what it looks like from the air. Let me shut the door. All right, fire it up. There aren't a lot of spots to land down here, so if you kind of follow the rivers around, you'll see some little openings. You can see the rivers on, well, if you have a little nav map with the satellite view, you'll be able to see them, but even if you fly over the area, you'll come down and see some open spots. Okay, if mix is full, give it starter. This is just really neat. I don't know why I'm so blown away by it. Maybe because it looks like my backyard, but this is really cool. All right, so slowly bring it up. We're in a pretty tight spot here, so I'm going to try not to hit anything. Try really hard not to hit anything. Slowly ease it up. And as you fly down close to the trees, they start blowing around from the rotor wash. It's just awesome. Really, really cool. So the thing I'm enjoying about Bijan, much like Clifford and guys like him that have been really heavily doing some scenery work, Jeppesen, they've had some recent hits, big hits, but when they first started out, there was a few misses. If you saw the Dynamic Earth Pack that I reviewed in 2020, that was part of the Stromboli flight that we took out of that volcano on the island of Stromboli. And if you haven't seen that, go back and check it out. We flew into Huey at night. It's an erupting volcano with lava spewing out of it and everything. It's amazing. But what's cool is each iteration just gets a little bit better, and like we're seeing here, a little bit bigger, more and more detailed, more precise, more lifelike. So these guys just keep on pushing ahead, and each one gets better and better, and it's not going to be too long, I don't think, before the entire world is this accurate as far as vegetation, water, waterfalls, water movement, volcanoes, tornadoes, fires, lightning storms. It's just getting better and better, which is really exciting. So big word of encouragement for you guys. I know some people will mock some of the stuff you're making. It's all part of the process. Just keep on plugging ahead, because you guys are what's making this really, truly turn into a twin world. It's amazing. So there's Lake Maurepas there, and if you kept on going over it, you would hit Lake Pontchartrain on the other side of it there, which is gigantic. And I think it has the United States' longest causeway bridge going across that. We saw that in our New Orleans flight. So that's what it looks like, guys, and as you can see, it is a huge area. I can't even see where the transition point is, so this is massive out here if you feel like doing some swamp flying. Yeah, see, there's some more spots down there you could probably put it down in, and that one directly ahead of us, you could definitely put it down in, but I don't think there's any water to splash around in over there. Okay, up next is our last stop. We'll be over on the west coast, just south of Los Angeles. I'll see you guys in a minute. And here we are in Dana Point, California, a place that I had never been to before this, and I probably never would have come to if it was not for this add-on. An incredible area. We're going to check out just a little bit of it, and maybe even more exciting than that is we're going to fly the Sky Rascal, which I have never gotten into until I just landed this thing, which is pretty wild. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to start it up again, but we're going to find out. So we'll hop in, cruise around, check out some of the stuff down there. Let me show you where we are for this place real quick and what really got touched up out here as far as I can tell. So if we zoom out a little bit, it's right in between Los Angeles and San Diego. And you can see those bookmarks because we have toured both of those cities. And he also did, Bijan also did another area right down here at Oceanside. And I think the thing that he did for both of these is all these palm trees down here you can see off to the left. And I don't know, he said you can turn off some of the photogrammetry. So I don't know if he customized some of this photogrammetry. I'd be surprised, but I'm not sure about this. If the photogrammetry from the city came all the way down here, what I can tell you for certain is that whatever's going on with this photogrammetry is much, much easier on your CPU performance than being up in Los Angeles. I wasn't having any issues at all out here. So I found a little spot for us to land. I had to start right over it because, as you can see, once again, the nearest airports, there's one way up here and another one down here and over here. So it would have taken a long time in this thing, which I think has a top speed of 25 knots, to get down here. So I just started right over the harbor, which we'll check out. It's right there behind us in just a second. But as I was coming around looking for a spot to land, these cliffs also look really, really good. So we'll just kind of come over here, check these out, check out the palm trees. We will see a couple blob trees. But other than that, this is some really incredible photogrammetry. So hats off to Bijan if he did the photogrammetry out here too. You should look at doing some more cities if you did, because whatever you did, it's performing really, really well. So again, you have that one, and then you have this place right down here, Oceanside. I thought this one was way, way better. This is a photogrammetry city in the sim, but it's just a tiny little area, like right here is the only thing, and there's a much, much bigger marina back there behind us. So we'll go check that thing out. And then there's one more spot up here in Hollywood. I think it's called Hollywood Springs. I can't remember where it was. It's somewhere right around here, but I couldn't really tell what got done up. It might be this thing right here. I couldn't really tell. It's all photogrammetry. So for me, for that spot, I really couldn't tell a difference. But this looks amazing. So let's hop in and check it out. See if we can figure out how to fly this thing around. And by the way, if you're thinking about flying this and don't know how to map everything over, it looks like regular airplane controls are working for this. So we'll Shift-C it to hop in. I think I'm just going to have to turn the mags on. The fuel should be good, and I'm going to just get ready to fly this as soon as it turns on. So I'm just going to give it full throttle, and it should just come right up. That's how it was working when I was trying to land it. And boy, is it easy to land it. It's like coming down in a parachute. And I'm not touching anything with that brake. I've got it hooked up to my stick, which is moving those things on the side. And my rudder pedals are also making it maneuver a little bit and in a little different way. So that I'm moving them right now, but I don't see anything moving on this frame of this thing, so I don't know what's going on with that, but it looks like that's doing that. Okay, and then forward and back. So all it's doing is manipulating the tension on the parachute, it looks like. So when I go forward and backward with the stick, that's happening. Left and right, this. But something is also happening when I move those pedals. But every now and then you'll see this little brake twitch. I have that linked to my toe brakes, which is working, but it's not activating that. But this will move, this brake lever here will move on its own occasionally. Not sure why. All right, let's fire it up. See if we can get her going. All right, here we go. Throttle it up. In the 3 minutes I've flown this, I'm really starting to like it. It's pretty cool. You're not going very far in this, but it's neat. Definitely a cool way to see the world. Again, the trees look amazing. I turned the wind almost oh gosh. All right, well, we did a little tree trimming there. I don't have any ship traffic turned on, so these are just out here also, but let's check out these cliffs over here. Look at the rocks down there on the shoreline. Look at that, you even got some little pillars over there. Not perfect, but definitely looks cool. I'm really liking those rocks down by the water. Okay, so let's circle back around here. So this is the city of Dana Point, which really came to be how it looks as a modern city in the 1920s as the sprawl from LA, which would be about 60 miles down the coast that way. Finally made its way down here. The first guys to start building some planned communities were guys that had built up some homes in the Hollywood Hills area. See some got some pillar trees down there. But wait till you see the structures and the photogrammetry over here in this harbor. Unbelievable. But the first European Americans out here were, of course, the Spanish, who set up a mission about 3 miles inland along a little creek they have down there, rounding up some of the indigenous folk to do some forced labor at the mission after converting them to Christianity, of course, because you want to check all the boxes for that. And then there was a big fur trade out here that kind of peaked in the 1830s and 1840s, and then it fizzled out for a while until they started building the planned communities up. I don't know why, despite the trees, despite the pillar trees and blob trees, this just feels really good. Maybe it's the great performance I'm getting out here. All right, let's check out this harbor. So I'll just cut the throttle, kind of coast for a while. And the real treat, as you can see, it looks like they have a Qantas Airlines 747 down there, right at the pier, which should not be there in real life. I have no idea why that's out here. But that's interesting. We're not near any airports. If that was a crash landing, they did a really good job. Right underneath us is a place they call Baby Beach, which is made specifically for children, and you can see because it's inside the breakwater there, it's really, really calm. So they say it's good for kids because I think they might get some pretty good surf out here. Look at this harbor. Getting a little bit of popping, but that looks really nice. Of course, the palm trees there. No blobs or pillars with any of those. That looks fantastic. Really good. And then we'll just kind of circle over here, come over the town, and if you want me to try to land this thing, hang out for a minute, I can show you what that's like, because it's kind of interesting if you haven't flown this before. It's called the Sky Rascal. I wonder if that's the same company that makes all the rascals you have to wait behind at Disney World, those little motorized chairs. So I don't know if that's Bijan or the Mamu Designs Marinas, which, by the way, is now available for 2024. If you already own it, you can just update it at Sim Market, which is where I got it. And also the cable cars pack. I don't think the Power Lines pack is ready yet, and boy, I can't wait for that to be ready. But those two are, so you can buy them if you don't have them. I think it's well worth it. Those palm trees look amazing. Great job again by Jean. Really, really good. We got a few flat cars down there, but look at this. Look at these boats over here. The ones that are parked. Even those have relief. Looks fantastic. So I'm just going to come over the town a little bit here, and I'm going to actually try to land right on the high school football field, because the high school looks really cool. That red-topped building over there to our left is a huge Hilton resort. They say this place has bought or trademarked, I don't know if they have to buy it or just register it, but they've registered the town as the whale and dolphin watching capital of the world. Which doesn't mean much, but I've heard you can see quite a few of those things out here. Yeah, those palms look good. Real good. Very lifelike. That's amazing. But they said that the marina was built in 1960. They said they're about to tear it down, at least that's what Wikipedia said. I guess it's kind of got that vintage nautical vibe going, but they wanted to make it something a little bit more contemporary. So that's what the plan is out here. Alright, the high school should be right on top of this hill over here. I don't think we're going to miss it because it's huge, and the football field is huge. And I think the name of the team is the Dolphins, which you can see on their field. I'm going to look at the little nav map here and just make sure I'm heading the right direction. Yep, okay, we are. If I turn my head too fast, you can see a little bit of stuttering out here, but that's just because I left the settings on what it was for the swamp and the bamboo forest, which was really high for a photogrammetry area. I would normally turn it down, but I figured this thing could probably handle it. And so far it hasn't been too bad. Okay, that white building, I think right in front of us is the high school. But what a gorgeous area. And that's the Pacific Coast Highway right down there. It runs right through the middle of it. So if you've ever driven up and down that thing, you have passed right by Dana Point. Yeah, okay, I think that's the high school field right there. Looks like it's going to be. Yeah, I see the baseball field. Okay, so let's see if we can come on down. So if you want to come down, you just nose down, or you could cut the throttle and it'll slowly float down. Like you're on a parachute. Boy, how much do you think the real estate is out here? And if I didn't mention it before, I don't recall if I did or not. If it sounds like I'm plugging guys like Bijan and Mamu, I absolutely am. But just to keep things on the level, I have no relationship with those guys. Never talked to either of them, though I certainly would like to. They have not given me anything for free. I bought everything that I'm showing you with my own money. And again, I did not even realize this stuff was part of that pack. There's the field. Let's see if we can nail it. And once you get slow, it just kind of stops. Like anything with a big parachute on it should. Oh, this will be fun. I can't imagine living out here. I bet it cost an absolute fortune. And they called it elementary school, which we just flew over Palisades Elementary School, though we are not anywhere near the Palisades region where the fire is. And I did fly out over there. I was going to do a little tour of it just to kind of show you some of these structures that have been burned and destroyed. But not only is it very poor performance, but the Palisades region is not photogrammetry. Look at that pool. It's going to get a little jagged probably as we get closer. Look, it has gym written on the top of it there. I wonder why they did that. You see that? Does that say gym? It does. Why would they do that? Oh, who cares? They've got things written on all of them. Maybe it's for like helicopter firefighting. Alright, let's see if I can do this. I'm a little high, so I'm just going to swing this around. National anthem's playing. I'm parachuting in. I did put my clothes back on after our noodling over in Louisiana. I'll come across this side. Looks like they have it set up for soccer right now because I see the soccer goals down there. This is awesome. So cool. If you guys haven't flown this thing yet, do it. Really cool. I never flew anything like this in 2020 if it even existed. I would have never thought about it. But again, this is just the perfect opportunity to do it since we're taking these shorty little flights. Dana Hills. Yeah, so this area is called Dana Hills. There's Dana Hills High School. And it says Dolphins on the other side. Ooh, this is going to be kind of challenging. Okay, so I'm going to come down. I think I'm probably going to have to throttle it up. Oh, hard bank. Let's see if I can do it. Oh. Is it like a helicopter? Kind of. Oh yeah, we'll just set it right down. Oh no. Alright, well, I kind of overshot it. I'm going to have to do some work on this. Oh no. Oh no. Well, guys, I thought I might have been generous enough and kind enough here on the channel to make it to aviation heaven, but things didn't work out that way. Probably that last little comment about the Spanish missionaries was enough to put me over the edge. It is what it is. I'm gonna go see if I can find the big man. Talk my way out of this. Later.